there an opportunity?
No. I don't have anything to do with him.
No friendship anymore?
No. I don't. What brought us together was a common purpose. We met in the trenches. We didn't meet in a club. We didn't meet at church. We didn't fall into love with each other at the university in the same class. What brought us together was sharing the common agenda for the revolution. And once we start seeing things together, differently, what brought together no longer exists, and there's no need for me to be having any kind of relationship.
Yeah. One of the things that I think a lot of people saw this when you addressed the press briefing with him when he was announcing that he's leaving. And a lot of people said, oh, you can just see how sad Julius is. We've never really seen him like that. And you guys were so collegial in the way you addressed this matter. You were very professional. You were very mature in how you handled it. And then a few days later, you addressed the ground forces, and I felt you were going hard on him, where you said you had been betrayed. What happened between that moment and the time when you addressed the ground forces? Because it seems like something happened, because then the messaging changed.
No. The messaging remained the same. There's a different posture you take when you're in a press conference, like when I'm talking to you now. And when I go to speak in a rally or in a political talk cannot be like some boring history lecture in a lecture room. My responsibility, amongst other things, is to agitate and to instill confidence on the ground forces and say to them, we're still rocking the boat, we're in charge, let's move forward. So there should be a difference between the press conference and the ground forces event, but there's nothing that really is different from what we said. I said to you there, and I might have said it in an emphatic manner at the ground forces rally. I said to you at the press conference that I wouldn't have expected that from a brother. And once I say that, a word for that is betrayal. So whether I put it in that way or this way, it's the same. But it's water under the bridge now. Nothing of us depend on his existence. No. We are doing much better now without him.
Yeah. One of the things you said at the press briefing was that this is not allowed even in the EFF constitution, but if he decides that he wants to come back to the EFF, you are going to make an exception for him. Is that offer still on the table?
That was a demonstration of me not having anything against him as a person. But the EFF has got a constitution. It has got its own membership. It has heard what I said, and it will decide at that moment if that moment presents itself. But I was simply saying, I've got nothing against this guy. I've not done anything to this guy. And even if he calls on me tomorrow, I'll show up, because I will not have some hangovers but this guy, when he left, this is what happened. No. And that's what I was saying. But we're all governed by the constitution of the EFF, which says if you leave the EFF, you are not allowed to come in. And the leadership of the EFF had a CCT meeting. One after another, they said to me, hey, my guy, we heard you, but not here.
So they said,
no, not here. You can forgive each other there, but not here. The constitution of this organization applies. And I ought to respect that, because I've expressed my views, and the leadership said, hell no.
Are you not concerned about how that comes across? Because from what you're saying, this is a decision that you took unilaterally, right? About making an exception even though the constitution that doesn't allow, without speaking to the leadership. Do you not think you should have at least discussed it with the leadership and said, hey guys, this guy wants to leave, but because he is, as you've said before, the brainchild of this organization, what do you guys think of this? Because you are a leadership collective. I would imagine Julius Malema himself can't just make exceptions about the constitution of the EFF.
Well, a person leaves a day or a night before. We meet, work out the strategy on how we're going to navigate this with him. And the following day, we handle it professional in a very good manner, the way you are saying. For the first time, I hear you speaking so well about EFF that you did something professional and in an acceptable manner. So, in between that, there is no time for consultation of the highest decision-making body in between the conferences. I'm its president. I should make pronouncement in between because leadership must be provided. But when that leadership meets, it has to rectify what I said. It's the same as the CCT, the Central Command Team. It will take a decision and then goes to a National People's Assembly in December. And then we arrive there, they say, no, that decision was wrong. This is what the leadership should do going forward or should have done. And therefore, we're not accepting this resolution. So we've got our bosses, as it were. But it doesn't mean that I'm confronted with a challenge now and I have to protect this organization, which I did to the best of my ability. And that's why it's still standing today.
Yeah. I have to say, as we wrap up on Floyd, one of the things that particularly surprised me about your posture when you're addressing the ground forces is when you told them to go and check who owns Channel 405 and what relations they've had with people like you've said in the past that when we are in politics, we mustn't be personal. So don't involve my family, don't involve my personal relations.